I still get chills thinking about what happened in our attic last summer. It wasn't a person, and it certainly wasn't an animal. My husband, Mark, and I had just moved into this charming but admittedly ancient Victorian house in upstate New York, unaware of the lurking presence already settled within its forgotten spaces. Late one evening, a strange rhythmic scratching began echoing from directly above our bedroom ceiling, a sound too deliberate to be a squirrel, too heavy to be mice. Mark, ever the pragmatist, grabbed a flashlight and ventured up the creaky pull-down stairs, while I waited below, my heart pounding in a silent drum against my ribs.
After what felt like an eternity, a terrified yelp ripped through the old floorboards, followed by the clatter of the flashlight and Mark scrambling down, his face ashen, eyes wide with unspeakable horror. He could only stammer about a towering, impossibly thin shadow that moved with a jerky, unnatural grace, observing him from the darkest corner before lunging. We called the police, but they found nothing, just dust and cobwebs, yet the oppressive cold remained, clinging to that forgotten space like a shroud, a silent testament to what we both felt. I know what he saw wasn't human. It was an ancient, malevolent intelligence that had made our new home its hunting ground. And I still feel its eyes on me whenever I pass that attic door.
I used to love hiking the Appalachian Trail, but after what I heard deep in the Shenandoah Valley last fall, I haven't set foot in the woods since. It was a solo overnight trip, just me and my gear, trying to clear my head after a tough breakup, seeking the solitude only dense forests provide. Around dusk, while setting my tent near an isolated clearing, faint whispers started, not like wind, but distinct, human-like sounds drifting through the trees. At first, I dismissed it as imagination or distant campers, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent, seemingly circling my campsite, never quite resolving into words.
Then came the chilling mimicry, my own name, Daniel, whispered from the darkness, followed by the distinct sound of my unique whistle, an unnerving echo from the impenetrable tree line. I grabbed my hunting knife, heart hammering, convinced someone was playing a cruel prank, but the silence that followed was heavy, pregnant with a palpable predatory menace. The feeling of being watched intensified, a cold alien presence pressing in, forcing me to pack in frantic silent panic, stumbling through the moonless night until I hit the road. Whatever was out there wasn't human. It was ancient, cunning, lurking just beyond perception, and it knew my name. A memory that still makes my blood run cold.
I swear to God, the basement of my old apartment building wasn't just creepy. There was something truly evil living down there. Our downtown Seattle building was a pre-war relic, all drafty hallways and groaning pipes, with a communal laundry room tucked into its damp, forgotten foundation. Every time I descended those narrow, mildew-scented stairs, a suffocating dread would grip me, an inexplicable sense of being watched from the gloom beyond the flickering bulb. One late night, the old washing machine suddenly whirred to a stop, plunging the room into unnerving silence,
broken only by a soft, wet, slithering sound from the far corner. My flashlight being cut through shadows, revealing nothing. But as I moved, I caught a glimpse of two unnaturally large yellow eyes reflecting from where the sound had come. The eyes blinked slowly, deliberately. Then a formless, darker than dark shadow detached itself from the wall, expanding, shifting, without head or limbs, just pure, malevolent mass. I dropped my laundry, fleeing up the stairs in a blind terror I've never known, convinced if I stayed another second, it would have consumed me entirely. It wasn't a rat, not a broken pipe, not an illusion. It was a primal, ancient horror that called that cold, damp basement home, and I left that apartment the very next day.
I grew up on Lake Superior, but after one night fishing alone, I learned some things are better left undisturbed in the deepest parts of its frigid waters. My grandpa's old cabin, isolated and rustic, was my escape. I'd spent countless summer nights out on the calm black lake, jigging for walleye. This particular evening, a dense, unnatural fog had rolled in, clinging to the water's surface, muffling all sound, making the familiar shore a distant memory. Suddenly, my fishing line went taut, not with a fish's frantic tug, but a heavy, deliberate pull that threatened to yank the rod from my grasp, something enormous below. As I wrestled with the unseen force, two large, bioluminescent eyes, an eerie, pulsing green, slowly ascended from the depths, piercing the fog barely 20 feet from my boat. They weren't fish eyes, too big, too intelligent, tracking my every move with unnerving, predatory intensity as water churned violently around them. Dropping everything, I cranked the outboard motor and sped to shore, huge ripples chasing my small craft, the glowing eyes maintaining terrifying pursuit until I hit land. I haven't been on the lake after dark since. Whatever that thing was, an ancient relic, an alien life form, it's still down there, watching, waiting in the frigid, unfathomable depths.
Breaking down on a deserted stretch of highway at 2 a.m. is bad enough, but what I saw approach my car that night still haunts my every waking moment. My phone died, engines sputtered to silence, and I was stranded deep in rural Arizona, miles from town, under a sky choked with unnatural darkness. After an hour of fruitless attempts, I saw a distant figure walking down the shoulder, gradually closer, appearing to be a man, perhaps offering help. Relief washed over me, but as he neared, an unsettling feeling pricked my skin. His gait was slightly off, too fluid, too fast for a normal person. Under a street lamp's weak glow, I saw his face, almost human, but his eyes were too wide, too black, reflecting no light, and his smile stretched unnaturally far. He stopped, tilting his head at an impossible angle, his voice a distorted echo of a greeting, but beneath it, a guttural, wet sound, like something trying to speak.
Panic seized me. I locked my doors, fumbling for keys, screaming as he pressed his palm flat against my window, skin sickly pale, fingers unnaturally long, clawed. Somehow the gar started. I drove away, leaving that horrific mimicry behind, knowing it wasn't human, just waiting for its next victim out there.
My buddies and I thought exploring the abandoned Hawthorne Mall would be fun. Instead, I came face to face with something that defied all logic, something utterly terrifying. We'd heard urban legends about the decrepit wing, cordoned off for decades, whispers of strange disappearances, and an unnatural cold clinging to its dust-filled corridors. Armed with flashlights and youthful bravado, we navigated shattered storefronts and fallen ceiling tiles, the massive complex's silence amplifying every creak. Deep within the restricted zone, a profound, suffocating dread descended, a pressure on my chest that wasn't just fear, but an alien presence settling around us.
Then, in the vast, empty space of what was once a food court, a towering shadow detached itself from the gloom, not cast by light, but a moving void in reality. It shimmered, shifting subtly, its edges indistinct, yet its form suggested impossible height, oppressive intelligence, completely absorbing my weak flashlight beam. We didn't scream, we couldn't. Paralyzed by instinctual terror, we just watched as it slowly, deliberately began to expand, threatening to consume the very air. I don't remember running, just the sudden rush of cold night air outside, forever changed, knowing some shadows aren't merely an absence of light, but a predatory entity from beyond.